Welcome to Read Between the Lines, a book podcast. I am your host, Molly Southgate, and today I'm interviewing
Ali Beckham.
Hi there. How are you today?
I'm doing very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Awesome.
So, can you tell me about your book and So Fly Taxidermy?
I sure can. So I take ethically sourced dead insects and draw around them. And I've been doing that for 4.5 years. And the book came to fruition it was around 2 years. It was before the pandemic, and what is time anymore?
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure when it all started, but my book is basically a collection of my work that I have done for the past four years. Yeah.
And the book is really great. Just for anyone listening to, totally go check this out. It's so cute. And also check out your Instagram, which I follow, and I love it. Every time I see it, I'm like, oh, there's more bugs. This is fun.
There will always be bugs. Yes.
Yes. So how did you start So Fly Taxidermy?
Well, it's kind of a funny story. And I was doing it to impress someone with how funny I am. I had been drawing comics for this person, and just a few, I drew 2 comics. And then I came home one day and there were 2 dead flies lying next to each other. And I just imagined them having a conversation before they died, because insects communicate, right? But I thought it would be funny if they communicated with human words. So I picked them up, I drew around them, and I posted it to Instagram. I sent it to the person, and I've seriously done it every day ever since. And that was in December 2016.
Wow, that is awesome. So how do you get the bugs for your projects?
Well, if you start looking for dead bugs, you'll find them everywhere. A bug's lifespan is so short. People don't realize that. The average housefly lasts 28 days, around there. And as far as bees go, I have beekeepers from Rhode Island to local beekeepers send me their hives after they unfortunately die. Or I get a lot of bees in the fall, winter time, when dead bees just fall out of the hive, unfortunately. But then I get them and make little art pictures out of them.
Yeah, it's like upcycling in a way, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I have a few entomologists who have sent me their specimens after they're done using them. And, I've gotten a scorpion that was found in Arizona. I have moths from Washington State. I really have more of an army of bug nerds out there who also look for dead bugs and send them to me.
I love that. So it's correct me if I'm wrong, but you're it kind of created a community almost.
Oh yeah, I definitely, with the Instagram, So Fly Taxidermy, I have created a community, because since the very first one I posted, I've never, tried to get a following. It just organically happened. I've never hashtagged anything. I've never done anything like that to grow. It just, people really related to my work and therefore shared it. And so the followings that I have, everybody wants to be there. I'm not forcing anybody to be there. So yeah, it created this really great community.
That is fantastic. And just scrolling through it, it's just such a happy, so it's funny and it's just lighthearted. And can you talk a little bit about, there's a lot of themes about self-love and stuff throughout the comics. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure. I mean, I struggle with self-love. And so the comics and art that I make is just a way for me to express myself. And so, I don't make the art for other people. I make it for myself. So when I need some positivity and uplifting, if you will, I make what I'm feeling. My Instagram is basically a dear diary.
Oh, told through taxidermy.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Still taxidermy.
yes. So how did you work on compiling the comics for your book?
Oh, there are 106 illustrations, and I would say I picked about half of them are ones I had made over the years, my favorite ones, and then half of them are brand new ones that haven't been seen before. So it was pretty stressful, to be honest. The publisher came to me and said, "Hey, do you want to make a book?" And I said, yeah, sure. They were like, "Sign this contract. You have 4 months." And I was like,
Oh, I was not expecting that.
So for the 4 months, that's when I truly started feeling like an artist, because I was like staying up super late, falling asleep on my couch, fully clothed, just waking up, making coffee and getting right back to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did you, during those 4 months, prevent like burnout and keep updating that? Like, do you have any tips for writers or artists working with that kind of deadline?
I would say that I am lucky in that I found a way to create that almost seems like it doesn't have a timeline, not a timeline. What's the word I'm looking for? It's not boundaries. It just seems like there are so many bugs out there and so many ideas that I'll never run out of them. So I don't know. I mean, there are millions and millions of different kinds of insects out there. So I feel like I'm one of the lucky ones who found a medium that I'll never run out,
Yeah.
As far as, so it seems maybe to some people that the success happened overnight, but I seriously have sat down at my desk every single day to work on it. It wasn't, even before the 4 months happened, I was sitting down at my desk every single day, allotting time and working and trying to be creative. So there's not a secret formula. It's just actually doing the work.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. I get that one a lot on here when I talk.
Yeah.
So can you recommend any resources for people to learn more about pollinators?
There are so many books out there. I did get some of my favorites out for that. So I really flies are pollinators, which is kind of an unknown fact. But The Secret Life of Flies by Erica McAllister was a really, really good one for me. And what is it? Bugged by David McNeil was also really good for me, a good read for me. And then, as far as pollinators go, our minds automatically go to bees. But I guess if you want to learn more about bees, one of my favorite Instagrams is Bee Public Indie, which is an urban beekeeping local. It's local. It's about an hour away from me. And they have great resources.
Yeah, thank you so much. I will definitely be checking those out later, because it's such a varied topic too. And like, there's so much misinformation about bees and especially, and like all bugs in general.
Yes, there is.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on like how they're portrayed in the media and like how the information is spread about them?
So my biggest thing with the media and bugs are mostly the issue is with bees. So, for instance, the Bee Movie by Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah.
It's not factually correct because the bees are talking
and the bee falls in love with the human and the human falls in love back.
Exactly. And they drive cars and all of that stuff, but they're very adamant portraying Jerry, I don't even know the name of the bee in the movie, but Jerry's character as a worker bee, when worker bees are actually females and drones are the males. And so, I mean, if you see a bee popping around to flowers out there, it's definitely a female. Drones basically hover above the hive and wait to mate with the queen.
Yeah.
So I think media forgets a lot that, or doesn't look up.
Yeah.
You would think they would have,
Like, I know the word worker bee. Let me plug that in there.
right? You would think they would have fact checkers, but they don't, unfortunately. But that's my biggest pet peeve is portraying bees as the wrong gender.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah, definitely. I've always loved insects and stuff, and
Cool.
but I always ran into people who were like constantly, ew, that's gross. Bugs are disgusting, and it's so frustrating
It is
because
so frustrating
yeah.
because they're not gross. They're so cute and they're just trying to help our ecosystem.
No, it's like they don't do anything wrong most of the
Right?
time.
They do everything right. And if they, I mean, I know mosquitoes are essential to this world, but
Yeah.
also those are the ones that really creep me out.
Yeah, I'm actually going to put an addendum to I love most, but I love all bugs. I'm going to say most because of mosquitoes now.
Right.
Yeah,
And people are always like, oh, you're a bug murderer. And I'm like, no, I'm not.
it's a mosquito.
I ethically source my bugs. However, if a bug accidentally scares me and I'm just like, oh my God, and like swat at it on accident, yeah, I've killed a bug before. It was a total accident. Also, if there's a mosquito visibly sucking my blood, I'm not gonna let
Yeah.
that happen. I'm gonna at least try to flick it away.
Yeah, and like most spiders are good, like little ones though. I freak out if they're too big though.
That's fair. Spiders, oh, they move so quickly.
That's what scares me. And when they like jump, no.
When
No.
they jump, or when you think, like when you're looking at a corner and you see it and you like go, you turn your eyes for just a second and you look back and it's gone.
That is the most terrifying. Yeah.
I also grew up in the woods, and for a portion of my teenage years, I didn't want to share a room with one of my sisters. So I moved to the basement and woke up plenty of times with spiders crawling on me.
Oh no, I could not have handled that.
So gross.
Somehow now you like bugs.
Like, no, somehow now I'm okay with it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So do you have a favorite comic in your book?
I don't think I have a favorite comic. I was trying to think about it. Someone has asked me this question before, but I think they all, like, some of them are funny, some of them are not.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are inspirational, and some of them are factual. So I don't really have a favorite. I think they all kind of speak for themselves, and it just depends on my mood. Like one day it'll be something hilarious, and the next it'll be something kind of sad, and then the next it will be an inspirational one. So I don't have a favorite. It just, yeah, depends on my mood.
Awesome. Yeah, I love your pun ones especially. Those
Thank
are the most
you.
fun.
Yes.
So this is kind of like away from talk of your book, but just reading in general.
Yeah.
What is the most influential book that you've read?
Honestly, Margaret Atwood is a queen.
Yes.
And, I've loved The Handmaid's Tale for years and years. When was it? It was 85 or 86 when it was published. One of those. But, I started reading that book and have gone back to it many times. But it was about right before I started all the insect stuff, I was running on a trail, and a woman got attacked right after I got off the trail.
Oh.
And I had been reading The Handmaid's Tale, and I picked it up when I got home, still oblivious to the attack. And I got to the passage, I can't remember it verbatim, but it's basically saying how women couldn't even run on sidewalks anymore. And that just, that book is so dark, but it's so you can read it at any time and it hits so close to home. So
Very much so.
that one is probably my all-time fave.
Yeah, I've never read the first one, but I did read, I know the story of it, and I've watched part of the show, and I did read that, the second one.
Yeah.
And so that the second one made me terrified. Do you ever go into a doctor's office alone? Ever?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, they're so beautiful and so sad.
Yeah. But Margaret Atwood she is a genius. Like her Mad Adam, Oryx and Crake series, the trilogy. Have you read that?
Oh, I haven't.
Oh, well, the first book is kind of, I'm not saying it's hard to get through, but the second book, the first paragraph, after you read the first paragraph of the second book, the entire first book makes sense. And you're like, oh.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really great. Check it out. I also really like Cormac McCarthy.
Mm-hmm. I haven't. Yeah. That's another series by her, right? That's no.
Cormac McCarthy is an author.
Goodness, I totally blanked out there. Because I know she has another. I know she has another one that's like a detective series off of those other two.
Yeah, she has so many books.
A lot, yeah.
So many books. No, Cormac McCarthy, he wrote The Road, No Country for Old Men.
Oh, yeah.
That sort of stuff. But also I really like him too. He's super dark and very straightforward. And I also really like Stephen King.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have a favorite type of book to read?
No, I'm very depending on my mood. Depends on that.
Yeah.
So, sometimes I like to pick up fiction or nonfiction. It just kind of depends on the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely understand that.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite book character? I know this is a pretty broad question.
That is a pretty broad question. I don't know if I do. I've been thinking about it all day and I can't nail it down to one character. So can I pass?
Yes, because honestly, if I was getting asked that question, I say this on the show all the time whenever I ask this one, I'm like, you don't have to answer this because I would also pass.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I've been thinking about it all day and I can't nail it down. So pass.
Totally fine. So how about this? This is a little bit more specific. Do you have a book character that you relate to the most? And that could be like elements of your life relating to how they act, or like who you are as a person or what you look like.
Honestly, I think that question is even harder.
Oh, no. Or a top 3.
Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, wow. If I had a character to relate to, I don't. I've been looking for one.
All right, I get that. Some people, I've met a lot of people who are just like, I don't have ones like that. And
I don't. I wish I did. I'm also looking for a mentor right now. So, I'm searching for that character.
Yes. Well, hopefully you will find it.
Yes.
It's
hopefully.
fun. I'm someone who just is constantly doing that kind of thing. Like every book I read, I'm like, which character am I?
Oh, really? No.
Oh, yeah.
No, I haven't related to a character. So there you go.
So when you were younger, like when you were a kid or a teenager, were you ever interested in making comics or art or illustrations?
I've always been pretty artistic. My mom, growing up, so we lived in Germany until I was 5 on an army base.
Ooh.
And it was basically just me and my siblings and my mom. And my mom is very creative, and our days were just filled with paint and drawing and just creativity. So I kind of grew up that way.
Yeah. So are there any artists or people who do taxidermy, like both things kind of can go hand in hand in some ways, but who have inspired you for fly taxidermy?
Whenever I'm feeling uninspired, I always peek at Gary Larson's work, The Far Side.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He's brilliant. And so if I'm feeling uninspired, I just take a look at his work, and that kind of grounds me.
I love those ones. I've got a big collection in the other room of those.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Do you have any favorite, do you have a favorite collection of some of his work or anything like that?
I don't really have a favorite. I think everything he does is gold. So
yeah,
all of it.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for coming on today. I just have one final question.
Yes.
And that is, what do you have coming up?
I've been thinking about that. Honestly, I've had a pretty rough quarantine, or not quarantine. I'm not in quarantine.
Yeah.
A really rough pandemic, as we all have.
Same. Yeah.
So I'm just glad I survived. And what's coming up next is I'm going to continue to do the same thing I've been doing, is just work on my insects and see what happens.
Awesome. Well, I will definitely keep looking at the taxidermy stuff. I love that. And yeah, I got my mom to follow you too. I was like, you need to see this. And then she freaked out when she found out that I was interviewing you.
Oh, that's it. Well, tell her I said hi.
I will. For Read Between the Lines, my name is Molly Southgate.
And I'm Ali Beckham.
Let's end this the way all great stories end. Happily ever after. The end.
Thank you for listening to Read Between the Lines, a book podcast. This episode is hosted by Molly Southgate. It is edited by Rob Southgate and produced by Southgate Media Group. You can get in touch with the show at readbetweenthelines@gmail.com, or you can send us a voicemail at 708-887-9473. That was 708-887-9473. You can also find us on Instagram at Read Between the Lines Podcast. Thank you so much for listening.